Now the pinion side, the bushing's a hell of a lot thicker, so you can't get away with that crap. It doesn't work that way. But it should be tight. Yes, I have to ream it. Good. It would suck if I didn't have to ream that. Okay, so now we got to fit these two bushings. So we got our cover here to do that. The gasket, preferably the one we're going to use. I think this is the one we're going to be using because it's the only one I got here right now. Make sure there's no dirt and junk on it. Appears to fit. That's always a good sign. All right. That went on there pretty good. Okay, you need about 5 or 6 screws to hold it down. So I have to go over here and find some screws someplace. That'd be over here in the junk pile. Here's some chrome ones to use. We're going to be putting in some other ones. Now we can also use these tappet screws. See, they're almost the same length. These are easy to use because they're held on the hex head. I don't have to use a screwdriver. Let me use these. I'll just put a few of those in here, 2 different places. Like that. And another one. One more. One more. Don't have any more. Use them all. 2, 4, 6, 7. There should be one more somewhere. There it is. Found it. Right there on the end. All right. Okay, get our tools out. Now, why do you need an extension all the time when I work? It's very important to have an extension every time you work. They give you something to hold on to when you're doing this kind of crap. See, this acts like a bearing area. Holds it straight. When you're way over here, trying to do it like this, you're in the way, you can't turn it. Remember, my finger's passing the part we're doing, it'd be over here. Everything's in my way, like my hand. Doesn't work. This here works pretty good, see? That's why you do it. Plus it gets this away from anything in near the bike that when you hit against it, it does damage. Now these, I polish them down so they're not very sharp. So you don't, if they do hit something, they don't do any damage anyway. So all stuff you gotta care about a little bit. Okay, I gotta get all these to start through the gasket. I'm not sure where the gasket's at under here. Alright, I think I got them started. No, it's not starting. Nope. These only have a couple threads in here, so you can't tighten them very far. That one's not hitting anything. Oh, that's why they're having a problem. You got those stupid lock washers on there. No wonder they felt like crap. That one still doesn't hit. There's no threads under there. We'll have to check that hole. Okay, let's see if the cover's on all the way. Appears to be on there all the way down. That's kind of important. Okay, I can flip this thing over like that. So you can see the two bushings in there. So we're going to line ream them with special line reaming reamers. Okay. First one we need to do is find the reamers we're supposed to use. This is the pinion one from Jim's. See, it's got a nice long shank on there. So this is what reams the hole the size. Until it doesn't work, then you go bigger. You have a special centering tool. Centers off the main bearing. Of course, it's been modified considerably. That way when you have this thing in here, you can actually put a drill motor on here. And I also turn this down so I can put a drill motor in it. They made it for all by hand. We don't do anything by hand around here. You use power tools. Okay, that centers that up. That drops in the hole. Usually what I do is I drop it in the hole there first in the bushing. Move the bushing around. Let that kind of go in there. That way you center the bush, because the bushing is a small taper. It can kind of twist a little bit and screw you up on the other side if you're not careful. And yes, that does happen. Okay, what are we in here? Alright, this is big twin cam, which means it has that size hole in it. And that goes in there and cuts that bushing that we were screwing with before. Now I took the bushing and I took the reamer that they don't make. Jim's don't make this. I made a sleeve here. Sleeve it goes inside the cam bearing, so you align it. Then I turned it down to where I can put a drill motor on it, and I also shortened it so it would be a mile long. So now you go like that. Now the longer this is up in here, the more leverage you got to screw up the other side. So you want to keep them relatively short, but still have room to go down the depth you need to cut the bushing. So those are tools we have. And Jim doesn't offer those. At least not very good. This one they make, but yeah, it's kind of crappy. Okay, so I guess I'll use my towel since I own it. Go over here. Right over there. So we work on our favorite thing around here, the floor. Boom. We use a big 1/2-inch drill motor. Two reasons to use a 1/2-inch drill motor. They got a lot of power. You also got kind of some control over the output of it. It's low RPM. So you can control your trigger easily. A little bit. Of course you need a 1/2-inch drill chuck to hold the reamers. That one. It's that one. Alright, so we take our cotton oil. Go in there and lubricate the bushing a little bit. lubricate the actual reamer a little bit also, so it's not dead dry. Okay. Okay, don't forget our alignment tool. So just like before, you go down there in the bushing. You let that kind of self-center and drop in where it wants to. Come on. There it goes. Now I put this between my legs here, my feet, to hold the case. It also holds this drill motor too. Yeah, let's hold it this way. Alright, that one's done. This reamer's getting worn, so it cuts undersize. Geez, I gotta use a different reamer. Okay, that one's done. Now we go to the other one. Lubricate this one also. And we do the same thing. Except this one using the bearing as the center. Make sure you drop in there a little bit on its own. Don't force it. Make sure you stop before you pull it out of the bearing. Bearings are hard, they'll screw up your reamer. It'll also screw up the bearing if it's a brand new one. I use the old one, so I don't have to worry about it. Okay, now I gotta take this all apart and see if everything fits. If it doesn't fit, we get to use other tools. I always use these ones first because they're the smallest ones. Everything else gets bigger from here. Okay, wipe all that off. Now we're going to have chips in this holes now. That'll make a nice mess. Okay, let's go over to the other bench. I got everything I need over here. Okay, let's pull all this stuff apart. These are a little bit short to be using for this, but well, you don't torque them very much, you're good. Now we get this cover off somehow. How good are your fingernails? Okay, this cover has something you can beat on. Earlier covers don't. You only got two things to worry about, two dowel pins. One's right here, one's down here. That's the two spots that are tight. Once you get off these two shafts here, it's loose. These usually aren't very tight. It's these dowels that binds everything up. So you got to hit it off the one over here. And you got to get off the other one over here. Now on the generator motor, you got this little thing right over here. It's called a generator hole. You can put a hammer in there. Go like that. See how it lifts it right up? And while you're holding up there, you hit it over here again. See how now you're pivoting on the dowels. Watch that gasket. Okay, I didn't even tear the gasket up. Amazing. We tried to, though. Okay, so let me go blow this off and we'll come back to see if everything fits. Right back. Okay, so let me wipe off the cutting fluid, at least what you can get to. Okay, you look at the quality of the ring. So the ring was left a halfway decent finish. That's always a good sign. Okay, here's our cam. It's a little snug. Should just fall in and out. It doesn't. You're grinding as it went in a little bit. So that's going to have to be reamed a little bit better than what we did with that reamer. Okay. Take your pinion shaft and see how it fits into this. It doesn't, see? Okay, so that one's tight too, so we're 2 for 2. Now I was going to take this and hone this for a little bit, remember I forgot to. That'll help us slightly. Alright, so let's go get a little bit of a hone on this thing. We'll give it a hone job. Alright, so that goes right over here to our hone. One hone. Need a little cutting oil on it. The hand hone, see? You put a little pressure on it. Oh, and I can't even move it. Back off a little bit. There we go. A little bit more pressure with that lever there. It's harder on my fingers doing it that way. Okay, back it off. Screw it there so it comes off a lot easier. Okay, pull that off, take a look at it, see what it looks like now. Okay, those marks that were on there before are now gone. It's a little bit smoother. Still a little gritty though. See, I'm not able to hone it like at high speed, so I can't get rid of all this real fine stuff. We can try though. If I get gravity, let this thing drop down. So doing that, like I just did, I might smooth it up a little bit. Yeah, a little bit, not much. See, now you can see that big nick in there that we couldn't see before. See the hone highlight stuff. You can see all the imperfections after you do that. All right. Now I get to go try that bushing again. These reamers here are now no longer being used. They're too small. Bang, bang, bang. We have to step up our tooling a little bit. So that was the first stage tooling. We have multiple stages of tooling around here. Okay, now let's see how this fits in here since I honed this a little bit. A little snug, obviously. All right. Have to work on that some more. Okay, so these here, retire these ones. Okay, this is a 13/16 here. Now this I might have to reuse, I'm not sure. This one I definitely do not have to use again. Okay. Okay, there's the other one we need. That one's gone. Okay, so this is our big twin cam one. So this is a number 716 adjustable 13/16 reamer. Now when you come in a cardboard tube and you know they're old, that's because they don't make this stuff anymore. Okay, this is a carbide tipped reamer. I made my sleeve here for alignment. It's adjustable. See how it's split down through here? So you turn the screw out here, you can adjust the diameter of this reamer in tenths of a thousandths. So we start out a little loose and we just keep going up a little bit at a time until the cam goes in and out like it's supposed to. So that's how you do these. And the carbide doesn't really wear out too much unless you drop it. Okay, that's that one. Okay, this one here is a 9/16 adjustable reamer. Okay, this is the same thing. So this one here is carbide tipped, adjustable again. I made my sleeve in here obviously. And then I also have another adapter sleeve over here for other applications. So all of these are precision made, so it all works like it's supposed to. So this here, we're going to measure this and go in here and cut this out a little bit bigger. So we have to do these in little stages at a time until we find out what we need. We know for sure right now what we got don't work. Alright, so we get to put this all back together again, and then we have to go play with it individually. I might have to do this 3 or 4 times. You don't know. You do it as many times as it takes to get the job done. That's how many times you do it. Alright, don't bang those. Very important. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, now we gotta fit this stuff. Fitting's going to be fun. Find our little Allen that goes into this first. Okay. So first we're going to do is do our cam. So I'm going to back this thing off a little bit because I don't know what it's set at. Let's see if that'll go in the hole. Yes, that seems to be pretty good. So we're going to put some oil on that. Okay. Go ahead and give this a little bit of a spin. See what happens. I didn't feel like I did much of anything. So I'm going to give it just a little bit of a movement, about that far. Alright, we'll leave that one at that. Now we got something we can measure from. We can adjust it, go up a half a thou at a time or whatever we need until we think we got what we need right. Okay, that's it for that. Okay, now we do the same thing on this other one. Okay, it's obviously not going to go in right there. Give it about a quarter of a turn adjustment out. Still isn't going to go in the hole. Another eighth of a turn more. Okay, now it's starting to go in the hole. Does not go in all the way. Okay, so I'm going to come back. That eighth of a turn that I gave it. That's what we're going to cut on the first pass. Now the pinion shaft, we can actually check it in the case here. The cam I cannot. Don't forget your alignment bushing here. Very important to have that. Come on. There it goes. All right. Pinion shaft. Just drop it in the hole and see if it'll go in. It's trying to go, but not quite. It's going in there about a third of the way. So we need to go bigger. So at this point that's pretty easy to do because we just crank it up a little more at a time. So we just keep going up a little bit. Get what we need. It's almost going in all the way now. No clearance. It's almost all the way down on the shaft. So we need a little bit more. Just keep stepping up a little bit. Fresh oil on there. Alright. Give another 1/8 of a turn on that thing. We're almost back up to where it was before I adjusted it, I think. Come on, up in there. There it goes. We actually did some cutting on that one. The reamer's starting to be where the adjustment makes a difference now. Okay, so this should go right in there now. Oh yeah. You see, you just have just a little bit of jiggle on that. So you can see how it's got just a little bit of something there, see? Now if we can put the bearings in here, that'd be even better for final check. First we gotta get all that, clean all the junk up, and figure that out. Now the cam I can't check until I take everything apart, obviously, and clean it. We have no option on that one. So, alright, so for now, this part here, we're good to go. We can go all the way back over here again and do some more checking. It'll be a nice long video because I like showing the whole job. No use coming back 15 times to watch the same video over and over and over again. We'll just make an hour and a half long. Or whatever it needs to be. I think it'll be about an hour on this one, at least. Okay, so pull that one out. Wipe it off. It's good to go. You can see how this would be hard to do if everything's already together. Like if the crank was together, how the hell would you check the shaft? You'd have to take the whole thing in and out the whole time. You can put the cover on the end of the shaft, but it's a lot easier to have a shaft available to use like this. Plus, every time you stick inside that greasy ass chip infested hole, your snout gets full of crap. If the crank was together, there's no way of cleaning it. Blow it off. All right. The first thing you know about carbide is notice how much smoother the holes are. They cut a lot better. Now can you see the bushing where it's been cutting right there? There's an eyebrow it didn't cut there. There's a huge eyebrow where it did not cut all the way through there. And you go back over here, you can see the spots where it cuts and doesn't cut. That's why I tried to peen the bushing in there so you wouldn't have all these super negative areas. Alright, so now let's see how this works. Here's our cam. Still tight. See? So basically no change there. It's just as tight. So we're going to give that another 1/8 of a turn on that reamer, and that should open that up pretty good. So we'll come back for you. Okay, here's our shaft here, obviously. So it's right at minimum clearance. That's a fine line from these things being too tight. If they're too tight, they'll stick, and the ball game's over. And this is right there at that limit. So I'm going to say, just like the main bearings were before, we just didn't have enough clearance. Need a little something. So too tight. Okay, so this one's pretty tight. This one's just barely tight. It goes in, but it's just not enough. All right. So we basically need a couple tenths on the one and probably another half a thou on this one. Okay, so we'll put this back together again. Now if you rush this job, that's when you have problems like it was before where the cover would be all locked up. When the cover was on the bike, the motor was locked. When we loosen the cover up, the motor turned freely. This is the kind of crap you want to cross if it causes that. Okay. One more time. Now if I do a good job this time, I'll do it. This will be the last time. You will get it guessing around here. So you have to figure out what's needed and what you got. Now after you know what you got the last time, you should be able to give it the right amount the second time. Okay, so we already set up with the one bush in here. So this one here, we're just going to barely kiss it with a little extra. Shouldn't take much. Barely move it. Okay. Call that one done, I hope. We'll find out. Okay, the next one. Too high, too low. Now this one here, we're going to give it a little extra. We're not sure we need. We know we're still tight. We have no clearance. So we're going to give it a little pretty good adjustment there. About there. Hopefully that's enough. As you can tell by when you do this, if you think it's enough or not. I'm going to say that was not enough. Just give it a little bit extra. Doesn't feel like it's doing anything. We might have to come back on this one again. All right, yeah, maybe not. We'll try it. The pinion bush I think will be good. Seem to feel pretty nice. Okay, let's see, we got a pinion bush over here. Okay, somebody put that on the wrong leg. Whoop. Back over here. Okay, there's our pinion shaft. Yeah, that feels good. Now for the real test, can you put the bearings in the damn thing without them working? Where's my screwdriver? a good sign. A couple of those fill out. Okay, those are two are out. We don't need those two anyway. Take the next group. Appears to be turning freely. It's not binding. The bearings went in pretty easily. They had a little drag going in, but that's okay. They spin nicely. So that's good. Now the bearings go in the other direction, so the location's off by, 100th hour or so. The key is when you're doing this kind of stuff is you have to hold the bearings so they don't fall out the other side. Without dropping the camera there, that's pretty interesting. So we're using a screwdriver right now to know where we're at here. So the screwdriver keeps the bearings from falling out right there. And I'm able to turn the shaft. Now you can see how far the shaft is in, sticking out of that bushing over there. I'll hold up. So the shaft needs to go deeper. So this needs to go basically, see the bearing area right here? That needs to go flush with that. So I'm going to go ahead and let that slip on down all the way and see how it feels. There we go. There it goes. So now it's all the way down there where it normally would go. The drag's a little bit heavier, but it's still okay. So the bearings aren't really rotating correctly because I don't have a correct loads on everything. But it does rotate without too much of a binding anywhere. You get a little bind right there. I can feel something digging in. Oh, there's a problem. Oops, loose the bearings. There we go. There we go. That freed it up. The problem was the thread was all the way down against the bushing on the other side. It was in too deep. There, now it's a lot freer there. That's a lot better. I had it in too deep. Okay. So that was the final test there, is to do that, because that's the real work now. You actually have the bearings in there as you're going to use them. So you can't get any more real than that. And like how the shaft comes out of the bearings that are in the case, that means they're not binding, because if they're bound up, you couldn't get those out. There'd be all kinds of a problem getting them things in and out of there. Alright, so that's good. So we know that works. And that's still with grit and stuff down inside of here. We didn't clean it out yet. There's still cutting grit in that thing, which causes a little bit of drag also. Okay, so I'm good with that. Now we have to take this thing all apart, check the cam. So, but that's the last thing to check is the cam. Make sure it works. It's the same test basically. You put the cover back on it, tighten it down, the cam should rotate and be free and smooth. If it's binding up, then it's no good. That means your alignment's off. You might have the bushing hole set correctly for the diamond of the cam, but if it binds up in the motor, it's no good. And then after you get that done, then you put the whole crank in there, put the cam gear on it, and if it binds up again, then you screw it again. You screw on the cam gear. Pitch diameters. There's always more testing and fitting. Okay, so you can still see how out of those old low spots are in there on that. Okay, where's our clean shaft? Okay, here's our shaft now out here. See, I had the threads jammed all the way down into the bushing, that's why I was binding up. Okay, see, I don't know if you can see how much play there is. There isn't much. You can hear it that way. It's definitely right at the very minimum. Now you definitely have to break a motor in like this when they're this tight, and you gotta have good oil pressure right from the get-go. If not, you'll stick that bushing So definitely no tighter than that. I think we're okay. The tighter that bushing is, the better the oil pressure is, so you gotta play around the ragged edge there of being too tight. Where's the cam at? I know it's around here somewhere. There it is. Dumbass, looking right at it. Damn, still tight. I don't think that's tight. It's air bound. Air pressure. There's no place for the air to go. It's behind it. It's such a tight fit. It's air binding. See how the cam's dropping? It dropped real slow. It went all the way down. Okay, so that's minimum clearance on the cam. It's real tight, just like the snout is on the pinion shaft. But that's a little tight for a cam. The pinion snout, you can run it like that. This one here, see, that's under pressure. It's got a pressurized lubricant. This doesn't. So you can't run this as tight as that. It'll stick on you every time. Alright, so I got to loosen this up a little bit further. Like I said, it wouldn't hurt to loosen this up a little bit, but he's going to run a, like I said, he's supposed to be a lower RPM. You know, long-term motors, you want to tighten these up as much as you can. It's just a fine line being too tight. And it's definitely right there. When the bearings and stuff go inside the motor like it did, I'm okay being that tight. I've only had one of those things stick on me. And that was before I got these better reamers that I can play with it better. Alright. Get to do the cam one more time. It goes in, now we need clearance. As usual, the setup takes longer than the actual cutting. The cutting's ready to go right now. Put a little lube in there just to make sure it's not dry. Alright, so let's see, we're going to give that just a little extra clearance, about that much, about 1/16 of a turn. Definitely felt like it was doing something. Unlike before, it didn't feel like I was doing anything. Alright, so I think we probably got enough that time. You know, it actually felt like it was cutting a little bit. Not much, a little bit. Yeah, another half hour went by. See, I don't charge anywhere near enough to be doing these motors as much as I would do on work. Everybody thinks it's a half hour throw it together deal. Nope. I run the video uncut like this, you can tell it's how long it takes. Okay, blow this off. Clean off the hole. Alright, let's see what we got this time. Still see the cam. Watch it drop slowly. Damn, did I get any looser? Doesn't feel like I got change any. Yeah, that thing is way. Yeah, hardly any clearance on that thing. You can see there's just like nothing. Alright, let's see what we got. Let's see how good the tooling is. I'm going to do an assembly. It really needs to be reamed another shot. I've got to adjust it out here. There's one way to find out is to actually do it. Slid up. Yeah, we got in-play at the butt. It slid up, but it don't slide down. Too tight. I'll just do it again. Let's see here. There it goes. That's the up and down. That's this thrust washer's too thin. That's how close the alignment is. It actually goes in. You can actually rotate the cam in there like this. Eh? Even though it's that tight. That's how close the alignment is with all these tools I'm using. It just needs more clearance, but yeah, that's how good your alignments get. You get pretty damn close. Alright, but we definitely got to open it up a little more. So we'll play with that a little bit. So you can pull a cover off with a cam on it, and that's really a good indication of how good the alignment is. The cam almost came on its own, but the gravity overcame the vacuum finally. Okay, so we're going to ream that one more time. I just don't want to go too much, make it loose for no reason. I put one screw on the end here just to make sure the cover is all the way down that way. We eliminated a couple of screws that time. Alright, let's go try that one more time. See if we can get it correctly this time. I guess I could actually put an indicator on there and measure the damn thing, but yeah. Where's the fun in that, huh? Okay. A little bit more again. So it ain't cutting much each time I do that, but it does cut. Eventually we're going to have enough material out of that. But I know those darn adjustable reamers, they will all of a sudden start making big changes for those little turns of adjustment. Once they start to move, they start moving quick. Starting to look better. The bushing's actually starting to cut round now. That means we're moving some of the material out. So that eyebrow that was up here is just about gone, and this big one is over here is now a little one. And the rest of the bushing, see how nice and smooth it is? So it's taking metal out each time we do this. Just not very much. Let's see what we got this time. It's definitely getting looser. It's not getting loose very quickly though. It's right there on the limit. It's definitely right there. That might be enough. It's close though. Probably one more, but I'm stubborn. I don't want to cut more than I have to. There you go. That's enough. I knew it was. See it? It's floating. Cam's going back and forth, see? So if you can do that with gravity, that means it's nice and loose, see? So I'm just lifting up with my finger, letting gravity drop it. Obviously it spins nice and freely. See the lobe spinning around? See? You can hear it bouncing in, spinning real free. There you go, that's perfect. That little extra we gave it is all it needed. Yeah, I'm happy with that. See, if I give it one more, just be extra clearance. Don't need that. Okay, now all we do is figure out if you want to go a little extra on this one or not. I've run several motors like this tight, so I think we're good. I'm happy. Took a long time. Yeah, it's a pretty long video, I bet. But I'm good with it. It looks really good. Alright. So what else do I got to do on this? I got to put studs and stuff in the oil pump yet. Let's see, I'm trying to think what else we need to do here. We need to pull out the drain plug, or this set screw in here, oil gallery. I want to make sure that gallery is completely clean. I got access to it, I might as well do it. I got to put all the studs in here like they need to be put in it. So I got to do all that stuff yet too. So, alright, so I'm pretty good with that. So I think this is ready to get another douching tonight. We'll give it a final douche. I got to clean everything in here one more time in the clean tank, and that'll get everything nice and clean. So tomorrow we can assemble. So I got another half hour of cleaning to do here. All right, I'll do that off video. You don't need to watch me do that. All right, that's it for tonight, probably for videoing.